Hello everybody.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah. Just once more and like wave. What? Hello everybody. Hello. That's great. It feels cozy immediately here. Has anybody done public speaking before? Raise your hand if you've done it. Yeah, a little bit, yeah? You probably know then how I must feel right now. Here we are. I'm counting that there might be something like 30 people here in the room. And it means that it's going to take like 30 hours of your company time, so I'm not taking this lightly. I have two video cameras. You are not going to appear on either video, but because I have two cameras and I'm going to edit the video for your usage later, we have to do something before we begin. We have to clap our hands once. Do you know why? Exactly, to sync the videos, yeah. So I will do it alone. Are you ready, guys? You can nod.
Yes.
Cool, yeah. Was it enough?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the clapper board, but I don't have it now, so we need to do it here. Now the videos are going to be in sync, so the audio is going to be like, the lip sync is perfect then. So, my name is Antti Niittyviita, and I love testing, of course, that's why I'm here. The thing that I've mostly had trouble with lately is because few of my relatives, like the elder ones, keep on asking that, so what do you do, Antti, for a living? And I always say them that I do software testing. And there is like a screensaver in their face. You know, it means nothing to them. And the same thing tends to happen when we are like on a dinner, having a night out with some friends, not engineers, obviously, out having a dinner, and then there is someone new and asking that, what do you do, Antti? I say software testing. And that's immediate conversation killer. So I think software testing is one of the most unsexy things imaginable, and I was attending a conference. It was like an exhibition, I think. It was called ICT Expo in Helsinki, and there were these CIOs and CEOs venturing around, and we were like having a stand there and standing as software testers and trying to impress somebody, you know. And then someone came and asked, so what does your company do? It seems strange. Prove, what does it do? Software testing. And the same silence fell. Can you hear the silence here? Yeah, it's silent in the beginning. And then I started to experiment on how could I explain about, you know, the things that I do for a living in a way that anybody could understand. And this is what I came up with in the ICT Expo a year ago. And it was funny because the elder relatives as well have some kind of a leverage to grasp on what I do. So I started trying out this. I do mental health for a living. Do you have a smartphone with you? You can nod if you have one. Or you can raise even your hand if you have one. You have a smartphone, yeah? How does it make you feel when a software or an application there just doesn't work?
Frustrated?
Frustrated, exactly. Yeah, it pisses me off. Like, seriously. And same thing happens with my laptops. When there is a software and it doesn't work, it pisses me off. And I started to explain it this way. We do mental health, and the CIOs there in the ICT Expo asked us, what are you doing in the ICT Expo then? Well, this is the explanation. You have a software and you get frustrated when it doesn't work. So my job is to help the people who develop the applications, who develop the software to make it better. And I do my job by hunting the bugs before you as a user have to suffer them. And that's why I say software testing is mental health, because everybody is just happier when software works. And that's what I do for a living. I create a happier world, I think. And this is something that worked for the CIOs at least. So I'm a software tester and I'm an entrepreneur in Prove as well. So I've done lots of things like in the past decade around software testing. I've been selling testing services, I've been training testers, I've been giving some speeches to development teams. How many of you guys are developers? Like mainly? Yeah, like mainly. Exactly. How many of you guys would see yourself as a tester? Cool. Oh, that's great. I love it. I see myself mostly as a tester because I love so much the part of hunting bugs. And today we are going to be discussing about something that I feel is one of the most important things in creating high quality software, and that is exploratory testing. Yeah, it's here. I had to check if it's the right topic here. We're going to be discussing exploratory testing. So let me ask you guys first, what does the exploratory testing topic mean for you? It means a different thing for everybody. But what does it mean for you?
Absolutely nothing.
Cool, that's a great answer. Well, then we have at least a purpose here. One goal is to have it mean after this something. Okay, we are going from nothing to something. Okay, that's great.
I think that the clue is in the word. So you don't need a specification how to test the software. You start exploring how the software works and find the issues and bugs that way.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. You don't actually need a specification, but you rely on something else in doing that testing. And I'm going to explain what it is. So this talk is going to discuss that. Yeah, that's great. Any different approaches? We can test how long the silence can be.
So much for mental health.
Exactly. Yeah, exploratory testing is, there might be somebody who thinks, I think that mostly people in management think that it's like somehow ad hoc or like improvising around something. And I've even heard an answer that it's like work of cowboys, you know. You go around with your revolvers shooting around and spit in the what's the bucket? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like a work of cowboys, and it's like not really controlled or anything else like that. So I want to put that notion or that mindset or that idea into a better perspective here. So I have a story to tell, because when I began, I was like the quality assurance specialist in a software project that I did actually in the same building. Like I guess quite a few of you guys have been there as well. But I was like the quality assurance specialist. And then it was something like in the beginning of the 2002 or 3, I think. The quality assurance seems so grand in the business card, doesn't it? It's like this quality assurance specialist or quality assurance like manager or something like that. So it seems grand. And then I ended up in the second project as a quality assurance manager it was in Tutkiati, I think, like not far away, like half a kilometer from here. So I ended up there in a project. We were developing like this state-of-the-art, amazing new smartphone, and we didn't even have smartphones on the market back then. And it was amazing. It had like a touch screen in it, and it had never been done before, like a real like a capacitive touch screen. You know, you only have to touch. You don't have to press it for the touch screen to work. And it was like all touch screen, all device. And that was like a huge project. It was like, it was going to be like, it's going to blow the minds of our customers around the world. And obviously this wasn't Apple, so it's not going to be a success story. You might imagine. It wasn't Apple. But we were developing that software, that application. And I was the quality assurance manager. I had a team in China. All right, there was this one cool feature that we had come up with, and it was like a haptic feedback. Do you know what that means? Yeah, when you touch the screen, it like vibrates slightly, that it feels like tactile when you like type, for example. And the haptic feedback was awesome. And our development team I'm not sure where they were at that time, but the development team were somewhere else. The testing team was here in Oulu, but the development team was somewhere else, and they had like, they had an awesome specification for doing the feature. And every time when there is an event on the screen, when you touch it, it has to like vibrate a little bit. And the development team had like interpreted the requirement specification, exactly the specifications what you talked about. They had interpreted the specification in a way that it has to vibrate on every event that comes from the screen to the operating system. And what happens there when you swipe? There's going to be multiple events. And when you pinch zoom, it's going to be multiple events. Or if you arrange the icons, it's going to be multiple events. And our CTO came one day to the site to see how we're doing. And he got the phone and he swiped the screen and the device turned into a vibrator. You know, it's a dildo. You know, a phone that vibrates constantly in his hand. There was an eternal loop of vibration after that, and his expression was priceless. Our pass rate for every test was 98% because everything that we had developed matched the specification. Okay, everything was according to the spec. And everyone was happy, everyone was getting their bonuses, and everything was perfect. But the CTO, when he came, his expression was like, it was the screensaver all over again. And it was an extensive silence that was here in the room in the beginning as well. And after 2 months, the whole program, the whole project was like terminated. So we didn't get to make the state-of-the-art first touchscreen phone, smartphone ever in the world. And they actually, that manufacturer took all of their development away from Europe as well, so it was like a huge thing later on for them. And I was the quality assurance manager. And that's like awkward, isn't it? We did everything by the book. We did everything like we were instructed. We did everything that was specified. And it didn't work out. So what I learned from this project is that thinking about quality assurance, I don't actually have any control over the specification. Do I have control over the schedule of the project? No? Yeah, exactly. Do I have any control over the budget or the resourcing of the project? No access. So if we're thinking about all the aspects of quality, schedule, you know, the source code, releasing, anything that has something to do with the actual quality of the product, I don't have any control over it. And still, I'm the quality assurance manager. So how am I supposed to do my job that way? And that's when it came to me, quality assurance is, I think it's a dangerous word to use for hunting bugs. And I don't use it all that often anymore. Because if I'm supposed to be a quality assurance specialist, how am I going to do it if I don't have any control over any aspect of the quality? Only thing that I actually do is hunt the bugs so we have a chance to fix them before releasing. And that's what I call testing, and testing is what actually makes the difference. Cool. Just in case you have any ideas or questions that come to your mind, don't hesitate to stop me. I might be, yeah, go ahead.
You just said you don't have any influence on the specification.
I don't have any control over it. I can influence the people who have control over it.
Okay, that answers the question.
Yeah. And then it all boils down not to my technical competence, but my skill of influence. And it's a soft skill, isn't it? But if I am to protect the quality, I need to deploy all of my skill in influencing people. And it's a totally different game than for an engineer skills. Exactly. So I'm sure, did I answer your question?
Yeah, my question would have been why you see that restriction, because my understanding, and it seems like your understanding as well, I got that wrong before, my understanding would be that if the specification is bullshit, then you have to tell people to their face that this is crap and should be changed.
Exactly. And this is one of the reasons why we actually need exploratory testing. Because exploratory testing is done aside of the specification, and it is one purpose of exploratory testing is to challenge what we have thought before we do the development work in the specification phase. And we might find bugs in the specification. And that's part of the exploratory testing. So, now, yeah.
Yeah, one comment or experience related to the specifications. So we were developing killer features for the radio base stations, and world's best algorithm developers, they developed the algorithm. Someone did the software integration, and later the system verification people started to verify. And it was the first time they heard about the feature, and their immediate reaction was, what is this? You have implemented it totally wrong. Don't you know how the radio network is supposed to work? And these were specialists at that area. So if you don't have access to the specification, and you cannot influence that.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
a typical waterfall, and hopefully we never have to see that again.
Yeah, I can imagine that situation. How many of you? The following part of the presentation is going to be by far the most important now. We have to be ready for it. This one idea, it all boils down to one single sentence, but I have a story behind it. I'll tell the story first. But the one idea is, I think, the most important idea that we could leave this gathering and take away with us, and maybe, just maybe, use it as a tool later on. And I've been traveling around Finland and a little bit around the world as well, talking I counted just recently that I've met about 2,000 people in one-to-one meetings about how to improve their way of development and how to deploy software testing in their projects. So it's 2,000 people, and this is by far the most important idea that I think everybody has left with. So are you ready for the most important idea of software testing and quality assurance?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. This is my opinion, of course. It might not be yours, but I'll share mine because I'm here and you're there. So, so please allow me to do that. First, I've got to ask, have you ever been to a forest? Raise your hand if you've done that. Yeah? Is there by any chance somebody who hasn't been to a forest ever before? Cool. I had in one training, software testing training that I attended in Helsinki, I had actually literally one guy who said that, I've never been to a forest. What's that? And actually it turned out that he had never been to a park either, like a lush green park. He had some kind of allergy to some kind of an insect that he wanted to avoid, and he had some kind of phobia, I think. But he lived in cities, and he only flew to other cities. So yeah, that was his problem. But anyways, most of us have been to a forest. Okay. And why is it that we go there? Why is it that we go to a forest? What's the reason? What's the purpose?
Serenity.
Exactly. You go get peace of mind. You could go get something else as well. What might it be?
Firewood.
Firewood? Exactly. You go collect something. What else?
Get away from humans.
Exactly. Part of peace of mind. What else?
Hunting animals.
Hunting animals, exactly. They actually started the duck hunting season this Monday here in Finland, and we're going to start the, what do you call metsäkanalintu? It's a hard word for me to translate in Finnish, in English. Metsäkanalintu. Anyways, they're going to start like all the other wild game season in next month, so you go hunt animals, okay? Is there anything else that you would gather or hunt in the forest?
Photos.
What?
Photos.
I'm sorry?
Photos.
Photos, exactly. You could go like check out the birds, you know. Take photos of them like bongaus, it's in Finnish, I'm not sure what do you call it in English, but anyways, it doesn't matter. It's not in my vocabulary. You could go take photos, you could go pick berries. For example, blueberries are probably ripe by now here in Finland. And there is always a reason to go into that forest, isn't there? A peace of mind or hunting something, gathering something. And for me, the most important thing is to get the blueberries because I love blueberry smoothies in the mornings. This morning I did a blueberry smoothie from like fresh blueberries and it was amazing. I just love them. If I don't get blueberry smoothie in the morning, I get cranky. I would always wake up like refreshed and smiling. So the blueberry smoothie resets the mindset for me. And I go out to the forest to pick blueberries. And now, if I work in my journey to the forest in a way of a traditional quality assurance specialist that I am, software tester that I am, there is a small patch of forest that I always travel every fall. It's in the little village of Paavola, south from Oulu. It's like something like 50 kilometers from Oulu, I guess. And there is this cute little forest road that ends in a huge pile of logs. It's like they do like logging here. Logging.
Yes.
Is it logging?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, it's like a homonym, so it's the same word for different things. We engineers use logging for something else, I guess. Anyways, they do logging. They collect timber for the industry here in Finland in that area as well. And there is this one huge pile of logs, like woods, that was gathered there something like a decade ago, and it's like probably out of some kind of ERP system bug. It has been forgotten there and it rots every year. It's smaller and it smells like rotten wood, you know. So I drive my car beside that huge pile here, and now I have a goal. I need to pick all the blueberries, or I need to pick a bucket full of blueberries when I go out to the forest. And there is this beautiful lake, and there is this fireplace and hiking trail around the lake. So I know that that's the place where I'm going because I love coffee by the open fire and I like to fry sausages there. So that's where I'm headed. Now, I'm the traditional tester. I jump beside my car like this, and then I open a map. And I start designing. I head east, and there is this huge boulder that I find there. I head from that boulder towards north, and I find the hiking trail and follow that to the fireplace. All right? That's a great plan, I decide. And then, these are actually lingonberries, I think, or something else. It just turned out it's like red berries. But anyways, then I start walking my path that I've already planned. And of course, I will find great spots to stop by and pick all the berries. And when I'm done, when I'm at the fireplace and boiling that great open fire coffee, it's like delicious. You have to try it if you haven't ever tried it before. What's in my bucket? It's a bucket full of
10 berries.
Berries. It might be 10 berries because it's been a really dry summer this summer, but anyways, I have as many berries as it's possible in this forest. So I have a bucket full of berries and I'm satisfied. Now what happens is I go back home and put part of the berries in the refrigerator to freeze them for the winter, part of the berries in my smoothie, and then next Friday I head out to the forest again. And I had a great plan. That was an amazing plan. I had a bucket full of berries and I execute on the plan again. What happens to my game? What happens to my bucket? Is it full anymore?
No. The berries are gone already.
Exactly. There might be one place that I missed because I was tweeting something or like posting a photo in Instagram about a bird that I found. And there might be something that I was just listening to music or something, or just doing the peace of mind exercises, getting away from people, that I missed just by an accident. There might be few places that you know we had the berries that I missed before, but the bucket is not full anymore. There might be a little bit on the bottom. How about on the third time? How will I feel when I get to the fireplace?
Hungry.
Hungry and frustrated. Exactly. I do have the sausages, so I get to feed myself. Yeah, I feel frustrated on third time. And here's the thing. The work that I do as a software tester in this setting is actually not aiming at gathering a bucket full of berries anymore. What will I get in the end of the third session or the third round? What will there be for me if the bucket is empty? If the bucket is empty, yeah.
Nothing new.
You get nothing new, but you get something. What is it?
You think the forest is empty.
Yeah, you get an impression that the forest is empty, and you get an impression that the software is bug-free.
But you still get the cup of coffee and...
Exactly, you get to enjoy your life and a peace of mind and get away from the people. But you get an illusion that there is no more berries in the forest.
You also get your bonuses.
Exactly, exactly. We got our bonuses in the touchscreen device project. We got consistently our bonuses, but in the end the CTO decided that we are going to terminate this project. Everything was green, everybody had an impression that we are doing amazing. So, this is the first thing about software testing. What I call this like trail hiking and going out to the forest to see that there are no other berries. When I travel the same trails all over again, I call that kind of work, that activity, checking. I go out to the forest to check if on my path there are any new berries. And in the context of software testing, I hope that there are no new berries, because that's what builds evidence and confidence on our software, that it actually works like we designed. So that work, that activity is checking. But now, since we are experienced forest goers, like we are experienced hunters or gatherers or photographers, we know by the experience that there is a way to get more berries. What should we do?
Go get out the trail.
Into the forest.
Vary the route.
Yeah, you have to change the trail. You have to invent new ways. You have to be creative, don't you? You have to be creative about the paths that you choose. And you cannot design them always here. When I go out to the forest, I deploy my experience as a forest goer, all that I know, and my intuition, and my perception about the forest now. And when I deploy it, I make educated decisions about the paths that I'm going to make. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this might be the fourth. And every time when I choose a new path, I will get new berries. A bucket full of berries.
May I add one analogy
Yeah.
with that one? If on any of those trails you find those blueberries, you most likely will go check that place and see more and see more and more. So actually, when you find something, that's a place where you will be finding even more.
Even more, exactly. Software bugs are, by the way, they are like a life form. They hang out together. If you find one, it's probable that there will be several others drinking booze together, and they're like hanging around there by the fire and, you know, being badass. And it's probable that there are other bugs around as well. So when I find a place where to stop, this is the place where I have the berries, it's probable that there are other berries around. That was your point?
Yeah.
Exactly. So then I have a freedom. I don't have a plan that I have to run through. I have a freedom to explore around the finding. And then I have different places to go. And this activity, this work, is something that I like to call hunting. So we have, this is like the sentence that I promised you guys. Quality assurance, if you like it, or software testing, is a sum total of two very different activities. And you might even write it down in your journal because this is really important. I'll explain why. Software testing or quality assurance is a sum total of two different activities, and the activities are checking and hunting. And the way you do both of them is totally different. And this is where the biggest mindset mistake I think in management and in leading new software project is made, is that testing is all the same. And when you do checking, you have to focus on totally different things than when you do hunting. Isn't it right? You have to focus on the map. You have to focus on the critical paths. And you have to focus on actually producing evidence that everything still works, that there are no new berries in the ground. But when you do the other kind of job, hunting, your focus is going to be in getting a bucket full of berries. Yeah?
Would you argue that talking about automating tests, you actually start paving the road to the forest fire so that you get there faster with an empty bucket?
Yeah. That's something that we are going to be approaching. Thanks for bringing it up, because test automation focuses on one bucket. If I say that testing is a sum total of two buckets, checking and hunting, which one of the buckets is the test automation focusing on?
Checking.
Exactly. Test automation is really sharp and like really great at doing and repeating the same work, doing the critical checks that there is no new berries. And at the same time, when we do a lot of test automation that produces evidence that everything still works, what happens to our mindset? We get an illusion that there are no berries in the forest at all. So that's why I say there is a danger to putting all of your focus in one bucket.
Okay, can I
Sure.
tell about another paradox?
Yeah.
It's about testing paradox. It's about interaction between developers and testers. It's like developers must trust testers that their testers are valid and they find fault in their code, not in the test, which is not always the case. And what many people observe, if you have very strong test you can trust, then the developers rely on tests and they write worse quality code, a bit sloppy, because okay, if it passes through test, it works.
Yeah.
And I've even seen a company that has like 30-year-old code and was full of patches, and actually everybody just trusted on tests because specification was forgotten, the code was full of patches. So that's also a danger of tests. And if developers knows that they can trust, and this is like a proof, they kind of are less careful about design and less careful about code. That's
Exactly. If you have a wide variety of pre-designed paths, test cases, automated tests, it tends to make our mindset to trust those tests. It builds our confidence that everything still works as it has always worked. And it builds our confidence in a way. This is why I call actually the checking is something that assures us that everything is still working as they were before. This is the quality assurance. Can you hear assurance? It's like, I assure you that everything is still okay. Huh. Are you serious? I assure that everything is okay. It's actually, the word is derived from the same like word in its etymology than insurance. There is something like, I assure you that everything is okay, and it's derived from French. And in 18th century, I think they had a huge negative like meaning for the word, because it's like false assurance. It means false assurance. Assure was the right French word, I think. I don't know French, so sorry for my pronunciation. But anyways, the quality assurance, the assurance, and having a huge variety of test cases and paths that we already know that everything is okay there, huge amount of test automation that already assures us that everything is okay, builds our confidence. And of course, management loves feeling of certainty, don't they? Everybody loves the feeling of certainty. I can confidently make decisions.
And you can measure it.
Exactly, you can measure it as well. Now comes the biggest paradox of software testing. Sorry, I'm speeding here because I'm like a little bit excited, sorry. But now comes the biggest paradox of software testing. And this is it. There are two separate activities, and the checking is something that builds our confidence in decision making, gives us a sense of certainty. And that's something that everybody loves, give me more certainty. Uncertainty is bad for everybody in big amounts. Think about if you get a divorce and get fired out of your job and lose your house. What will you fight to get back first? And it's the basic human need of certainty. You need to restore the feeling of certainty first, and then everything else comes. So that's the basic need, basic human need, the feeling of certainty. And that's why people who make decisions about testing tend to lean towards that feeling, sense of certainty. And this checking part of the work is something that produces certainty. And now comes the paradox. What happens when Otto does some testing and he finds a huge showstopper bug at the week of release? What happens to the sense of certainty around the office?
It's gone.
It's gone. You are destroying the sense of certainty that you as a tester were supposed to build. Isn't that awkward? So this is strange. Testing is actually here to destroy all the sense of certainty in order for us to make really, really educated decisions about shipping. And testers' work is to dispel the illusion of our software that we've built through the means of quality assurance. So basically, testing and like quality assurance or checking and hunting are opposing forces. Checking builds the certainty, and hunting is something that destroys the certainty. How can you do them both at the same time? You're expected as a tester, if you have just one day of week have a testing hat on your head, you're expected to do both things at the same time. Give me certainty, destroy my certainty. That's a paradox. That's an eternal paradox of software testing.
But isn't that experience? It's like you are destroying fake confidence.
Exactly, I have to give you a high five because that's the whole point of it. In hunting, we actually don't destroy all of the certainty, we actually destroy the false confidence. We destroy the illusions that we have about our software. In hunting, we tell the truth about the software. In hunting, we tell the actual experience that this is a dildo in my hand. You know. In hunting, we tell the truth to the CTO. We need to dispel the illusions that we create by test automation, we create by running all of the same test cases again and again and again.